Hello everyone and welcome. It is Sunday the 22nd of December and Christmas is just around the corner. But before that happens, we have a very special gift of our own to all of you viewers out there. It is the EGL League of Legends Championship Summoner Shield number 17 quarterfinals. I am Sona and my co-caster today is Eltizar.
Yes, hello, a nice present to all of those good little boys and girls who've been playing League of Legends throughout the year. We are about to get into select for this quarterfinal match between Please Don't Throw and I'm not actually sure what that is.
420 Ham Squad. 420.
Ham Squad.
How can you forget the 420 Ham Squad name? I mean,
They are going ham.
They are going ham and they will be going hard, and we are into picks and bans. Kassadin getting chucked away here by Please Stop Throwing.
Ah, yes. I think I've said this 20,000 times already. Kassadin is an immensely strong AP assassin. He only needs a couple of kills to get rolling, and then he's roaming across the map. There is very little you can do once a Kassadin gets rolling, unless you're very good at picking off someone in your own jungle. Lee Sin and Mundo, and also now Nasus being banned out. So that's quite a lot of jungle focus. Nasus, of course, very strong in the top lane. He was more of a jungler back in Season 3 in the earlier stages. Dr. Mundo has been one of those flavor of the month bans. Very, very, very tough, very hard to kill. But I personally haven't seen him that much in games, so I don't know how amazingly strong he really is. I'm sure chat will correct me. Jinx getting banned out as well. Lacking a little bit on the escape side, but I would definitely say that her poke damage and of course that amazing execution ability from Super Mega Death Rocket is very, very hard to deal with. And last but not least, another global ult getting banned out in the form of Draven.
Draven. He would be chucking his axes around the rift in a Father Christmas-like fashion, giving one to every little child and boy, and probably causing some cripples for Christmas in all honesty, but he is banned out. I was surprised not to see a Shyvana ban, especially since Shyvana with the new masteries, the 128-1 or the 030 masteries you can take, is exceptionally strong, but we'll see if she does get picked up, and it looks like Rawmix locking in Orianna straight away, one of his favourite mid laners, so we'll be seeing him on that, and I'd be interested to see what Worst Ari decides to play up against that.
Not going to say I'm biased, but I feel like if Worst Ari picked Ari, then that would be a bit of foreshadowing. The Shyvana, as you said, surprisingly not banned and getting picked up now by a rising hero. Also, we do see the Leona picked up, so that's two very potent engaged champions already on the side of 420 Ham Squad. They have no beef, but they are getting bacon.
They are getting the bacon, and as we said, the Shyvana getting locked in, really strong at the moment. Leona as well, so I actually... To my shame, I was jungling this morning and I got a Leona Solar Flare, a dragon away from me. Like, I smited too quickly and the Solar Flare got the last hit and it made me disgraced to play League of Legends. But hopefully we won't see that in this game, or hopefully we will, depending on which side you do support. Olaf on Lars boss there, and Bilic looks like he's going to be looking in the Jarvan.
Yes. Bilic hopefully not going to be a little bit of a ball ache for the members of 420 Ham Squad on that Jarvan. Cataclysm, of course, with the Flag and Drag. Very mobile, very, very tanky as well. Especially in the later stages of the game, he becomes very hard to kill and is a great source of crowd control. And a very, very nice ball delivery system for that Orianna. If you can go Flag and Drag into a Cataclysm and then have multiple more people being brought in by the shockwave, that is an amazing form of engage. If Last Boss is in there, then he is going to go ham on the members of Ham Squad with axe after axe after axe to their faces. Pirate Fighter EU West hovering over the Teemo. That would be a very nice Christmas gift, but I feel like that might just be a little bit of a troll.
Yeah, leaving those presents around the map. Sneaky is hovering over Galio. We did actually see a Galio played yesterday. Galio into a Mumu. Very good combination. They lost the game, however, so I doubt that will be a Galio pickup. I think this Teemo might be a troll directed exactly at me, in fact, because last time he almost picked Teemo for me, and I was over the moon, but I really doubt it will be picked up here. It looks like it's going to be a Nocturne for Sneaky, and Pirate Fighter EU still on that Teemo.
Teemo on an AD carry would be a very interesting thing to see, but once again, I do think that Pirate Fighter is trolling. We will see, however. Last second turn to the Lucian, there you go. no great surprise, the culling, one of the strongest ultimates in the game at the moment, especially if you can get someone locked up by a Leona, then they are going to get locked down by the remnants of the team and, well, blown to pieces. I couldn't think of another locked reference, so blown to pieces by the culling.
Their death will be locked in. They'll be locked inside their coffin as they get carried away.
That's quite nice, actually, yes. Genius Genie, looking to pick up the actual box. He's currently hovering over the Thresh. And Backflip going to be doing a lot of flipping out, actually, playing that Vayne. Incredibly strong in the late game. We've seen her banned in several EGL tournaments, and for great reason. She becomes so much of a problem for the opposing team, able to take down even tanks with ease. Like Season 3, my favourite champion was Shen. My worst nightmare was to see a Vayne on the opposite side.
I think one of the big things about this team composition coming out from Please Stop Throwing is their late game team. We have the Orianna Shockwave. Jarvan can get into the middle of the opposing team and carry that ball in, as can Thresh. And then you have Vayne wailing away onto the tankier champions, the Renekton, the Shyvana. If they can't get on top of her and stop her doing that damage, they're just going to get melted away. And Worst Ari has locked in LeBlanc, and that's one of her favourite champions.
LeBlanc, popularised, I would say, by CivHD with the brushy escape tactic. I don't think we're probably going to see that in the game, however. It's quite difficult to pull off reliably, I would say. But very, very mobile champion, very high burst potential, especially if you can burst the mark from Sigil of Silence, especially if you can mimic another Sigil into another ability, but very combo-reliant champion, I would say. In the early stages, she should suffer quite a bit from that Orianna because her poke is far more reliable.
Yeah, much more reliable. And also, she's got that silence. It's very difficult to use as a LeBlanc because it's all about the way that you combine your skills. But if you get a Sigil of Silence down and then do damage through one of your abilities, it silences your opponent. So it's jump in with Distortion, Sigil of Silence, Ethereal Chain straight away, and it puts that silence down. Orianna doesn't have the best escapes as a mid laner. Yes, she's got the command Dissonance, which speeds her up, and she's got the command Protect, which will keep her a bit safer, but she doesn't have sort of a gap closer or an escape as Ahri would, or someone like that, or Lissandra as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Worst Ahri does play against Rawmix here on this Orianna.
Yeah, I'm just looking across the teams for the potential of level 1, as Pash and I, if you've watched our casts, it's one of the main things we go over. I'm going to definitely say that Stop Throwing has the better, I would say, early game in terms of the level 1 engagement, because, in a word, Thresh. They have that death sentence, and they also have a considerable amount of burst, and not necessarily crowd control, but the ability to slow down a retreat. Last boss more than likely going to start with that undertow, which means that he's going to be able to slow the enemy members of the enemy team down, allowing Rawmix to land command attacks, allow Billich to potentially land multiple Demacian standards, and also, of course, Backflip can flip out, or rather flip forwards, with that tumble to try and land that finishing blow. Meanwhile, on the other side, I'm not so sure on the other side, though. The level 1, I wouldn't say is particularly strong, or rather the invade potential isn't that high. They could do a counter-engage in terms of Vegnagun 0, or I'm going to call him Vegnaguno because that just sounds easier to say. Okay. But he does, of course, have that Shield of Daybreak or Zenith Blade, so they could turn back around on an engagement, but engaging themselves is going to be a lot more difficult, I would say.
I would totally agree with that. Their counter-engage is superb, however. Piercing Light from Lucian can hit, obviously, a bunch of targets in a line and do a lot of damage. Ruthless Predator, if Renekton levels that up first as well, gives him a nice couple of seconds stun, and then the Shield of Daybreak or Zenith Blade coming out from Vegnaguno. Shyvana also with the burnout, very good chase potential, and Worst Ari on that LeBlanc, probably the most mobile champion at level 1 if you level up that Distortion. Does quite a bit of damage as well, and it's AoE, which is a great thing for them. They're not going to be starting off the level 1 fights, but they might try and counterfight.
Yeah. It's very unlikely that I would say that a Distortion aggression would happen, because that's almost putting yourself on a silver platter unless you jump back instantly. It is good AoE damage, as you say, but the fact is that you do have to jump into your enemy's face when you activate the ability. So, if Genius Genie is actually paying attention and has saved that death sentence, and if he can land it before Worst Ari can teleport back to where he originated, then it's going to end up with some very serious problems for 420 Ham Squad, and that's very, very bad, especially in the early stage of the game. If that kill goes to someone like Backflip, he can get rolling even faster.
That he can. I've seen a lot of Vaynes recently, and I think some of the other AD carries sort of have not better scaling, but better mid-game than her at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how they do manage to sort of mitigate a little bit of that mid-game, because it's not quite as strong as it used to be. We are just getting into the loading screen, and we will be in the game any moment now. Just going to do a couple of plugs quickly before we do start this game up. Obviously, we're casting for the European Gaming League. That's EGL. This is the League of Legends Championship. There's one on every week. Next week is going to be the Any Rank Championship. So that's any team from any rank can join. This week and the week after next are the Gold and Below ranks. The prize pool is 3,200 RP and a Triumphant Rise skin for each player on the winning team. Then 2,400 RP, then 1,600 RP, and fourth place get 800 RP each. So even if you come in fourth, still a really, really good prize pool. You can follow us at Twitter. We're on @EGL. We're also on YouTube /EGL Pro. I'm Sona, my Twitter is @TheOnlySona, and my co-caster today is Eltazar, and his Twitter's @Eltazar. We'd be really grateful if you can follow us, guys, if you enjoy the casting. We are just about to get into this game, just waiting on a couple of champions to load up, and we've talked about level 1 action already, Eltazar. What do you think about sort of the more team fight based action?
When it comes down to a team fight, it's really going to rely on who gets the engagement down. If Vegnaguno can land a Zenith Blade onto Backflip or onto Rawmix, and just see him pop when Westari follows up with the distortions and the sigils of silence and such like. That followed up, of course, with the Dragon's Descent to knock the more tanky components in the form of Olaf and Jarvan out of the way. If one of the heavy damage dealers, that is Orianna and Vayne for the most part, can get melted in an early stage of the fight, then 420 Ham Squad is going to have a massive advantage. If that doesn't happen, though, they are really going to struggle dealing with Lars Boss and Bilic on the Olaf and Jarvan. And of course, Thresh is going to be a massive threat throughout any fight, because he can engage with a very good death sentence and a flay as well if he can get close enough.
Yeah, I think one of the major issues that's going to happen in the late game team fights, especially if Sneaky or a Rising Hero get a little bit ahead, get a little bit farmed, is they're going to be able to jump onto that backline. Thresh is a good enough peel with the death sentence, the flay in the box as well, but if Jarvan and Olaf are jumping onto the backline of the 420 Ham Squad team, they're not going to have the protection that they want for the Vayne and for the Orianna in the sort of the backline of their own team. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one does end up happening. It's going to be a fascinating team fight, because both teams have great team fight potential, but it's all about who utilizes it better. We are just about to get into game. Everyone is loaded up 100%, and one of the things I've loved about this Snowdown, the Snowdown Showdown, so to speak, is the icons. I think the Poro in a box is probably the cutest League of Legends icon I have ever seen.
It is very, very adorable, and of course the Winter Wonder Lulu skin is very, very nice as well. Pix transformed into a little Poro as well. I think that's one of those fan favourites, I would say, that has become something major within the league.
I must agree. I also like the Snowdown Sivir skin. That's quite a hard thing to pronounce, actually. Snowdown Sivir. Snowdown Sivir.
Isn't it? I thought it was Snowstorm Sivir.
It's probably Snowstorm. In all honesty, I concentrate more on the casting. You can concentrate on this, the fluffy stuff. I just make sure I'm a good caster, Eltazar, okay?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I exposed nerve. My bad. It's fine. We do see the members of Please Don't Throw gathering up around their red buff. They could go for an invade towards the blue of 420 Ham Squad, but could very easily just start off with his red buff. It doesn't really matter as a Jarvan which way you start your buffs. There is no real optimal way, because you're not really going to be ganking pre-level 3. And level 3, if you don't have both your buffs then you are having a very bad time.
That is true, and I think one of the major things that Jarvan wants to do is get that sort of level 3 gank down. It's very vital to get early map pressure when you're playing Jarvan, especially because you're playing against sort of a more farming jungler in Sivir. She's going to be counter-jungling you all the time. That's her job. She can get in and out with the Burning Agony really quickly. So if you can get a couple of kills for your lanes and make Shyvana not be able to do that, not be able to spend time counter-jungling because she's got to help out her lanes, it's really going to set her behind as a jungler.
Very true. If you can get severe, you said severe now. And
I said severe, and then I said Shyvana. I realised that halfway through my sentence.
Yeah. As you say, if Jarvan can get Shyvana to basically burn out her abilities at ganking lanes, then yes, her counter jungle potential is going to be a lot weaker, which means that the early stages of the game at least, Village is going to have a far greater presence, I would say, because his engagement is so much stronger. Flag and Drag combo, which you will have from level 2, is probably one of the best jungle engages at that stage in the game.
That it is, and we actually see quite a bit of damage going down onto Worst Ari in the mid lane here. I mean, the CS is pretty normal. Worst Ari's burnt one of her pots already, and she's trying to get that Sigil of Silence down onto Orianna as often as she can, trying to keep herself sustained up with that health pot. It's going to be interesting to see how this lane progresses, because now Worst Ari's hit that level 2. I wonder what she's decided to take. She's gone for the Distortion as her second spell, second ability, so she's going to be trying to jump in, get the Sigil of Silence out, and then jump out as soon as possible. And that's exactly what she does. She goes in with the Ignite. Actually, Worst Ari doing a lot of damage to Vormix, going to be able to escape. She's tanking up a lot of minion damage here, down to about 200 HP. Warmix is staying in the lane because she's got those pots and is going to be able to sustain herself up with that little bit of extra health. Oh, there's an engage in bot lane. They're going in onto Thresh. So much damage coming down. Nice pull! Exhaust goes down onto the Bane. Exhaust onto Pirate Fighter on that Lucian as well. They're going to keep going for it. Is it enough? No! They've turned around onto the Leona and going to get those piercing bolts off. Quite a bit of damage. The silver bolts doing to both Lucian and Leona there, but everyone escapes with their lives.
Yep, 2 summoner spells burnt in that engagement. We did see, of course, the exhaust burnt from both of the supports. No flashes burnt, actually, which surprises me, which is a good show of steady nerve from both of the AD carries. They saw the fact they were in danger, but they didn't think they were in sufficient danger to warrant a flash, and rightly so.
Yeah, managing just to keep themselves alive with the exhaust and with getting enough damage down onto their opposing laners as well. If you can harass down the opposition, a lot of the time they'll be chicken and they'll back out before you are going to die, unless they really know their champions well and can judge the amount of damage they take, which is a vital part to sort of the higher level tournament play.
Yep, Village was denied an engagement on the bottom lane by that totem ward placed by Pirate Fighter West. Every single player in this game has gone for the totem trinket, which interests me slightly actually. It means that engagements in the jungle are probably going to be less likely because nobody has that sweeper to clear out the wards and allow for those jungle engagements. Sneaky trying to be sneaky as well, but Last Boss just not falling for it. He's farming very nicely. In fact, Last Boss has double Sneaky's farm at this stage of the game. That's
beautiful Lantern gank here in the bot lane. They're going to go in onto the Leona, and she's flashed away. Here's Shyvana, but it looks like Leona's going to go down. One more auto attack will be enough. There's no ward in the bush. Jarvan goes down for the first blood. Leona goes down, but here is Shyvana. They're going to jump onto this Thresh. Is it enough? He flashes away. Flash in there by Lucian. Double kill, piercing light. He's got a blue buff now. Shyvana has that red buff. Vayne flashes away. Are they going to be able to get this? Rising Hero is tanking up the tower. 2 shots, 3 shots. No, not quite able to solidify that kill on backflip, but a beautiful counter gank there.
Scumbag minions actually stopped the Ardent Blaze from reaching backflip. That could have been a very dead Vayne had that landed. As you say though, that was a 2-for-1 engagement in the bottom lane, coming out in favour of the 420 Ham Squad. First blood and the kill on the Thresh, going over to Pirate Fighter EU West, 2-0, and has a slight far advantage over backflip at this stage of the game. And that's correlating to a good 600-700 gold advantage.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how he does decide to use that gold, because on Lucian, looks like he's gone for a BF sword, and that big friend sword, best friend sword, is definitely what you want to be doing early in the game to solidify your advantage. You get the extra AD out of it, you can build it into that Bloodthirster or an Infinity Edge if you really want to, and it helps snowball your lane away. With so much being taken away from the early game in these recent patches, in 3.15 and in the changes to First Blood Gold as well, you want to be able to use your advantages as well as you can.
Yep, we do see the gold difference being shown already in this bottom lane. As you say, the best friend sword picked up by Lucian. Only a Vampiric Scepter being able to be picked up by backflip though, which means that he's going to have a slight advantage in the sustain through the lane phase, but he's still going to be considerably down in terms of whether or not he's actually going to be dealing high damage pre that level 6. Final Hour, of course, gives him a nice boost to his attack damage while it's active, and of course also makes his Night Hunter passive triple the effectiveness. as he does dodge the piercing light quite nicely there. The top lane, Sneaky's pushing Last Boss to the tower, but actually suffering hugely in terms of CS. Last Boss doing incredibly well farming out that top lane.
Yeah, he's done exceptionally well, and Dominus was actually popped by Sneaky a couple of minutes ago, so that's, well, not a couple of minutes, because otherwise he'll be back up, but a couple of seconds ago, actually a bit of an engagement in mid lane, but yeah, it was popped, so Ragnarok is still up for Last Boss on that Olaf. He's going to be able to escape any ganks, or even go all hammer, and get rid of the stun that comes out from the Ruthless Predator, so it'll be interesting to see if they do decide to capitalise on the fact that Ultimate's down, sending a jungler up to that lane. Jarvan is currently near bot lane, however, and he'll struggle to get all the way up there before Ruthless Predator comes off cooldown.
Definitely, he's just going to go and pick up his red buff. Blue buff's, of course, more than likely going to go over the mid line, as I say that Worstari picks up his blue. Rumix doesn't have his blue yet, so Worstari would be probably being very, very shrewd to go for an engagement, as he does actually. A lot of damage going down, but not enough for a kill just yet.
Yeah, and that bush was warded, so they saw a Rising Hero come into that bush in the bottom lane, not going to be able to get that gank off, and Vayne and Thresh are playing exceptionally safe here in this bottom lane. They know they're behind, they know that they're probably about 25 AD or so behind in the lane, so they don't really want to do anything. And going back to that BF sword pickup, you talked about it reducing the amount of sustain that you have in this lane, and that is totally true. If Vayne and Thresh can get some damage off, they're going to be able to out-sustain their lane opponent. But if you're playing Lucy and Leona, you want to all-in engage. If someone's harassing you down, you just man up, you just go the frick in onto them, and you kill them.
Very true. 420 Ham Squad bot lane definitely living up to their name if something like that does go down. Sneaky also trying to live up to his name at this point, but Last Boss not falling for it, was actually going to go back to his base. Does get interrupted by the component of Dice, but it's basically all back to normal. A lot of push going down in that bottom lane, of course, due to the fact that Pirate Fighter has so much more AD at this stage in the game, but that does also mean that this lane is quite open for Village to come in once that Totem Ward runs out. There's only about 30 seconds left on it. And once that goes down, then Village is pretty much free to try and sneak in through with a very nice lantern, as they did earlier, and try and get an engagement down.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the interesting things, actually, you talked about this earlier, the warding totems on everyone. What we've been seeing in the Battle of the Atlantic and in the LCS qualifiers is teams will tend to go for one sweeping lens to start off with, usually on the jungler, just so he can clear out as much match vision as possible. And then as they start to win the game, they will get more and more sweeping lenses. It looks like LeBlanc's actually going to come in for a gank here in the bottom lane. She's gone in, the Solar Flare misses everyone. They're actually getting a bit of a slow onto backflip, but they're going to escape from that. It was a bit of a forced engage, I feel.
Yeah, there was a ward, of course, in that Tri-Brush, so Worstari wasn't necessarily in the best place to land that engagement. Just go on to Village with a lot of damage, 2/3 of his health just melted away. But instead of going for the engagement, they're going for the dragon instead.
And that's a superb call. They've got the jungler down to half health, and they can take this dragon away exceptionally quickly. The Light Slinger passive coming out from Lucy and giving him that double shot. The LeBlanc there as well. There's the smite. Bitlik actually jumping in for this one. Gonna get Zenith Blade of the one. There is a lantern. Nicely done. Meaning he didn't have to burn his flash summoner spell. You can keep that one up for another day, Village.
Very good use of the Dark Passage by Genius Genie. I should have thought that through quicker. Actually, I could have said a genius play, but never mind. The moment is gone now. Everything goes all change as people go back to lane. We do see nice Giant's Belt pickup, or Sneaky, but we also see a Giant's Belt and a Chain Vest currently on Last Boss, so that is quite a big advantage for Olaf in the top lane.
Yeah, instead of going for the double Dorans that we've seen out of Sneaky, he's decided to go for that extra armor, and Chain Vest is huge in this lane. Renekton doing predominantly physical damage, apart from on his Ruthless Predator, I believe, is magic damage, and his ultimate, of course, does that AoE magic damage, but that Chain Vest is going to keep him surviving in so many fights, and it always reminds me of something I heard. I don't play a lot of top lane, actually a bit of an engage going in here. Ruthless Predator's going to come out, burn out, and no, just there is the Undertow, keeping everyone surviving. But one of the things I heard is, in top lane, don't build aggressive. Like, if you're ahead, just build as tanky as you can, and you're going to win the fight just because you're able to survive for longer. And that is the Bruiser meta. If you can just be a tank and be able to get more spells off and more auto attacks, you're going to win fights in top lane, unless you're against someone who just does a huge amount of damage like a Riven or someone like that.
That is almost entirely true, except in a couple of situations. Like you said, the Riven is one of those, and also...
Ooh, sorry, there's a massive fight in top lane. I'm just going to have to interrupt you. Ragnarok coming out. They're going in. Is it going to be enough? Oh, here's the Undertow. No, deciding not to go in for that one. Dominus was popped, but there's so much more lifesteal on last boss. He's going to be able to stay around, and Sneaky might have to back away.
Yes, he will. We do see yet another totem ward being placed in that Tri-Brush. Pirate Fighter and Vecnaguno look like they are going to back off to their base. A very wise choice considering Pirate Fighter has 2,100 gold. That is more than enough to pick up that Bloodthirster, which is definitely the meta item, I would say, to pick up, or better item to pick up as a Lucian in the early stages of the game, as we do indeed see. The Bloodthirster picked up just stacks out so much more damage when fully stacked on his abilities. Very, very nice to have.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things, like, as you said, he's got that Bloodthirster. He's probably the only lane that's ahead of his opponent at the moment. If you include the jungle as a lane, yes, Shyvana's out farming Jarvan and has those 2 assists, which is really nicely done by her. But top lane is 30 CS behind, mid lane is 20 CS behind, and the gold difference is about 700 gold when it should really be a bit more. I feel like perhaps when Lucy and Leona get back into this lane, they might want to try and be a little bit more aggressive. There's only a Bilgewater Cutlass here on Vayne, and we do actually have a pause coming out. I mean, the fact there's only a Bilgewater Cutlass means that you don't quite have the strength that you would usually have. Sneaky hopefully will be getting into the game any second now. I'm just going to chuck up our pause overlay to make sure that people can't check the stream out. So, Eltizar, what are your sort of feelings as to this game thus far?
You have almost entirely covered all of my points. As you say, the only lane that's really winning for 420 Ham Squad at this point is that bottom lane. The 2 kills on the Lucian and that 10 CS advantage definitely paying massive dividends for them, as he does have that Bloodthirster over the Bilgewater that is currently being held by Backflip's Vayne. And as you said, the other lanes are all going in advantage of Please Don't Throw. 112 CS to 81 on that Olaf against the Sneaky, playing the Renekton, and 104 CS to 88. Not quite as surprising, considering Orianna's farming ability is just exemplary, but I'm tempted to say that things should be going a lot better for 420 Ham Squad. They have had the advantages, they've had the dragon, and without that dragon, I'm tempted to say that the gold would be an advantage of Please Don't Throw at this point in the game.
Yeah, obviously Dragon gives a little bit less gold at early levels than it used to now, sort of maxing out when the global level between all players is around level 15, that's the max level of Dragon. Actually only worth about 300 gold less than Baron at that stage, so a really good objective even as we get into the later game, something that teams seem to be neglecting a little bit. But as you said, like, if the Dragon hadn't been taken, it would be a lot closer in the goal score, and I see this sort of late game team comp is starting to emerge at only 13 minutes here from Please Stop Throwing. Vayne trying to get farms up, is going to go for that Blade of the Ruin King. Orianna's got the Haunting guys in, bit of magic penetration, bit of mana regeneration as well, and Olaf in that top lane, he is going to be like a beast as we get later in the game.
Yeah, Sunfire Cape going to be picked up in that near future. He does not quite have enough for it yet, but next back, that's most certainly going to be his pickup. And if he gets a bit more gold as well, he can pick up in Mercury's Treads or something of the like, making him even more of a threat, because his Ragnarok makes him immune to crowd control, and when he doesn't have that up, Mercury's Treads can of course make him more resistant to it as well. He could also, however, and this is something that some people don't see or seem to dismiss on an Olaf, is he has that Ghost. You could very easily go Boots of Swiftness on him, and then if you get slowed, you don't need to care, because its effectiveness is so much reduced by those swiftness boots.
That is a great idea, and I wonder if he'll decide to go for that. He is one of the predominant tanks for his team, however, so after the Sunfire Cape, I do expect to see perhaps some more tanky items. Boots of Swiftness forgoing that bit of magic resist or the tenacity as well that you can get from them if you go for Mercury Treads, and going obviously for the more dive oriented player. But with an Orianna in your team, that's not the worst thing in the world. You can run into that backline and sort of just be a strolling shockwave if you like, and just manage to get as close to the enemy carries as possible, and then use that shockwave and get a lot of damage and a lot of crowd control off as well, something you don't associate with Olaf that much. Yeah,
the thing with Olaf is that, following his rework, his ultimate actually becomes a massive damage tool. The simple fact, yeah, he passively gives an amount of armor and magic resist, but when he activates it, instead of just making him immune to crowd control for 6 seconds, it now removes that passive armor and magic resist and gives him bonus attack damage, which means that he's going to go aggressive, and he needs to go aggressive as far as I'm concerned, when you play with that on.
Yeah, I definitely would like to be in that backline doing as much damage as possible. Let's have a quick look at the gold stats for both of the teams at the moment. There aren't many disparities here. The main one, as we've been saying, is in that bottom lane. However, there's about 1,000 gold there. One of the ones that surprised me is the 600 gold difference between Shyvana and Jarvan. That's half an item pretty much at the sort of lower levels of items, and going to allow Shyvana a bit more roaming potential and a bit more ganking potential as well.
Yep, pause being lifted. We are going to resume play right now, and we come back to see TRWPLS just taking his 3rd red buff of the game. Truly enthralling stuff. Meanwhile, it is all farm in the lanes at the moment. As you said, there is a... As you were saying during the pause, there's only a 700 gold advantage for 420 Ham Squad at this stage in the game, which we've been over multiple times, is nowhere near as high as it should be. Meanwhile, we do see Backflip, flipping across the map to go and grab his golems.
And Rawmix is going to be given across this blue buff, and that's going to help her just with that spamming of abilities. Orianna, great wave clear, but really easy to run out of mana on. I wonder what Rawmix is actually maxing here. Has gone for the command attack, and that's what you see more experienced Orianna players doing. Gets you that extra damage, also reduces the cooldown, and lets you mobilize that ball a lot better, getting it around the map and into the position that you want it in. And if you can use the ball properly as Orianna, really stops your lane opponent from being able to do anything at all.
Definitely, it's one of the best poke tools in the game. 2 minutes until the dragon respawns, Worstory going in onto Rawmix does put a hell of a lot of damage down, but Rawmix doesn't seem too phased by that. He's like, alright, that's fine. You're gonna try that again?
Yeah, that was with the Mimic ultimate as well being cast on the Sigil of Silence, so trying to get as much damage down as possible, and we saw how effective Command Protect is against a LeBlanc there, just allowing the Rawmix, that Orianna, to stay around for a lot longer than she would have usually. I wonder what it will be like when Rawmix does get the Deathfire Grass that she's building into. Ooh, Solar Flare in the bottom lane. Zenith Blade flashed away there by Backflip. Nicely done. Actually, turning on the final hour, and the hook lands there onto Leona. That's not the target you want. She's going to back away. They're going in for this a little bit harder than you'd expect, but Leona's down to about half of her health, and the Lucian also taking a few hits of damage there, so nicely turned around there.
Yeah, damage exchanged. 1 ultimate down, or 2 ultimates rather. Backflip did burn the final hour. I'm tempted to say that's a little bit of an overreaction, and quite a sign, I would say, if Vector can land a Zenith Blade to go straight in for engagement. There we go.
Yeah, they're going into this bottom lane. So much damage coming down onto the Thresh. The hook misses there. Lucian, oh, nice Ardent Blaze. Going to get some extra damage down here onto the Thresh. Nice condemn into the wall, but he gets shielded. Daybreaks. There is the exhaust and the barrier. It's going to be enough. Pirate Fighter, EU West, picks up the kill on Vayne. A Pirate Fighter killing a Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, Rawmix getting taken incredibly low in that middle lane. Worstory definitely getting that burst potential through the roof. Meanwhile, first turret off the game is going to go down in this bottom lane as a Rising Hero comes down to assist with that pickup. And this is perfectly timed. 10 seconds until the Dragon respawns. 4 members of 420 Ham Squad are stood right there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They're going to engage on Jarvan. Oh, the Zenith Blade hit there. What happened there? It didn't manage to go in. Hashtag bugs of the league right there. That was odd. Leona is very low. The Collins come out. Oh, nice hook onto Leona, and they go and get the kill. They're going to engage as the smite goes down. It goes to Shyvana, managing to pick up that kill for 420 Ham Shot. Nice shockwave there onto Shyvana. Not going to be able to chase her down. She's got Dragon's Descent. She's going to run away. Lucian went down quite low as well, but he's going to be able to get away from this one. I mean, they pick up a kill from what looked like a hopeless situation. They'll take that.
Yeah, they did also force the flash from Pirate Fighter. He was quite low on the health when he left that Dragon Pit, and we do see a nice little bit of push coming out from Rawmix Village towards this middle in a tower. Pirate Fighter taken extremely low. He is not going to be able to defend that anymore. And we may actually see a fight go down in the top lane as well. Actually, Dominus burns as Last Boss actually finally starts to go aggressive.
Yeah, and he can definitely do that. Reckless Swing, giving him that true damage. Looks like he has maxed that one up, and in lane, that is exactly what you want to do. It does huge amounts of damage, and doesn't matter what your opponent builds, you're just able to take him down. There we are, Reckless Swing to the face. Eat my lightning.
If only that were a bro laugh. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we do see a tower trade potentially going down. Nope, Vegnaduno shows up just in time to stop that turret going down, and there's Pirate Fighter as well. We also see Worst Ari looking for a kill, but I think Romix is more than wised up to what he's trying to pull off. Actually, yeah. Village might get caught out here.
He might. He's a little bit out of position. Sigil of Silence coming down onto him, getting him down to about half of his HP. Olaf taking the turret in that top lane means that it's a 2 turret to 1 turnaround here. After that bot lane turret went down and they got the dragon, they lost their mid and top turret on the 420 Ham Squad side. So just incremental advantages being taken here by Please Stop Throwing.
Yeah, and that also completely levels out the gold at this stage. 18 minutes into the game. We do also see Lars Boss backing out to pick up that Sunfire Cape. We're going to give him a couple of seconds. There we go. There is the Sunfire Cape. Pirate Fighter and Vegnaduno just clearing out the minions. Genie and Backflip not currently in the lane. We also do see Village going for yet another red buff as it has respawned. Ping's going out. They see Vegnaduno and Pirate Fighter heading towards that middle lane. I'm pretty sure they know what that means.
Yeah,
Push is going to be coming out in the near future.
We're definitely going to see a 4-man push. Shyvana is nearby as well, kissing like clearing out this wave as quickly as possible. And unless Vayne and Thresh respond to this one, it should be an easy enough tower. It's on full health at the moment. Oh, Solar Flare coming out. Warmix's going to get jumped upon. He has got Shockwave. No, gets melted. The Eclipse picking up that kill. Not quite the person you want it on, but you get the kill and you get a tower. That is very well done here by the 420 Ham Squad, and they can keep pushing because Vayne and Thresh have stayed bot lane to get that tower. Cullen coming out, clearing out the wave.
Yeah, that's not the best trade there for the Please Stop Throwing's team, because they do lose the inner turret in that middle lane, and that allows for so much roaming and potential for death brush setups in the jungle of their own side. Meanwhile, we do see Worst Ari stealing away the blue buff from Please Stop Throwing as well, and a 4-man push towards the top lane. Lars Boss probably not going to get killed, but he may lose a tower anyway.
Yeah, really good rotations coming out here by the 420 Ham Squad. They understand what they need to do. They took that bot tower, rotated to Dragon. Now they've taken 2 towers and a kill mid lane, and they've rotated towards this top lane. Really nicely done, and it's all reactionary play coming out here from Please Stop Throwing. They're not initiating anything, they're having to react to what the opposing team's doing.
Very great play coming out from a Rising Hero. All the members of Please Stop Throwing were forced towards the top lane. So what does a Rising Hero do? Push out the mid lane, forcing Genius Genie to come in to stop the minions aggressing. Meanwhile, the other members of 420 Ham Squad are slightly shying away from the engagement. It is a 4v4, and Sneaky, hiding in that brush, may want to engage on Romix.
He's going to, I mean, Worst Ari on that LeBlanc was nearby, got the Ruthless Predator off, but she got blocked off by Bilic on Jarvan, and managing to save his mid laner without even realising there. Nicely done by him.
Yeah, things starting to reset now. We do see Pirate Fighter US, of course, picking up that red buff, which is a very nice thing to have on any AD carry. 20 minutes into the game, this is the sort of time when you would start to expect seeing that on your AD carries. We're starting to get engaged on, actually.
Yeah, there's not enough damage, I don't think, here. Oh, the flash actually coming out. I expected a dissonance first, going to be able to get away from that one. And nice split there of the clone and herself, meaning they didn't know which way to go.
Well, the case is fairly similar than with Shaco, though. Buffs are not shown on both LeBlanc and her clone, which means that you can quite easily identify which is which. It's if you're paying attention, you can easily tell where the real one is. A Rising Hero rising up from the bottom lane. Looks like they might try and go for an engagement in the middle lane. Both members of the bottom lane currently sat there farming out for Pirate Fighter, and a second pause comes out actually, which means I think Sneaky may be having some slight issues.
Quite possibly. It looks like there's a bit of chat going out. I can't put that up on stream in case there is crude language being used, but I'm sure you will inform us as to what's going on there. Altazar, and like this game has been really interesting actually. Like, it hasn't been really, like, it's been exciting at points, but it hasn't been always full of action, and we've had a lot of time to talk about strategies and to talk about rotations and these sort of things that we don't get to talk about that much in these Summoner's Shield tournaments, because usually it's a lot of action and a lot of teams going, I need to kill someone, I need to kill someone, whereas these two teams have been very sensible. It's only 3-4 and that's 21 minutes into the game. That's a kill every 3 minutes, which is really slow. Even at higher competitive levels, you see games go a little bit quicker than this a lot of the time because a team will get an advantage and snowball that, but we've seen both teams coming back from disadvantages and regaining advantages as well, so been a very fascinating match to watch.
Yeah, I really do need to give honourable mention at this point. Larsboss currently on 199 CS, far in excess of anyone else on the map, even Romix as well on the Oriana. A melee champion farming so much more that is 40 CS higher than one of the best farm champions in the game. That is a very commendable score to have.
Yeah, and that's going to rocket him up in the gold as well. Highest gold in the game. Oh no, second highest actually. Lucian has the highest on 7,621, a full 1,000 gold ahead of his lane opponent. 1,500 actually. But that Olaf, 1,200 ahead of Renekton, is going to give you some items right there. And he's sitting on just over 1,000 gold, probably building up towards that Spectre's Cowl. Oh, sorry, not Spectre's Cowl, Spirit Visage. He's got a Spectre's Cowl already.
Yep, pause lifted, 45 seconds till the next dragon. That's probably going to be where the next big engagement happens. No ward's currently there, but we do see Genius Genie heading across in that direction. And there goes the ward. We do see pings going out for the members of Please Stop Throwing. We also see Worst Ari coming in for maybe a little bit of invading. Nope, Genius Genie spots that out. However, we do see also a Rising Hero staying in that general vicinity. It does look like that the members of 420 Ham Squad are going to try and go for that dragon when it respawns in 10 seconds. Of course, Sneaky won't be present in that fight. He's too busy defending his top lane against the incredibly farmed up last boss. More things going down with that.
They're going to push down this mid lane and then rotate straight towards the dragon. They've done this really well each time. In fact, I have to commend the 420 Ham Squad on their strategies and the way that they rotate. Really nicely done by them to be able to push out a lane and then take the dragon straight away. Jarvan going in, misses the smite. Culling actually coming out and picking up the kill, and there's the lantern. And they do have a very good smite steal combination coming out here from Please Stop Throwing with that Demacian standard into Dragon Strike combination and the Lantern to get him out. Shyvana's going to get jumped on here. Rising Hero, Blade of the Rune coming out. Final hour will be popped any second now. Condemns him into the wall. Renekton's here. Cataclysm onto him as well. Solar Flare hitting up only onto the tanks there. Sneaky getting taken quite low as well. The Leona is in the backline. Box coming out, just locking out as many people as possible. Sneaky's into that one. Shockwave hitting up 2 people. Shyvana and Lucian are going to get jumped on here. The Jarvan is going in. Vayne is there as well. Sneaky's going to get taken down. Romix. Oh, Lucian picks up a kill there onto the Thresh. Romix is chasing onto Pirate Fighter. Will he pick up the kill? One more auto attack will be enough. The dissonance. Yes, it's enough. No, the command attack. One auto attack. Come on. Romix, get there. Yes, command attack picks up the kill. LeBlanc is getting jumped on here by Olaf. She's really low. The ignite is ticking. Olaf's going to check out another toe, and that's the kill there. And what a trade here for the Please Stop Throwing team.
3-for-1 engagement, exceptional play coming out. Last boss didn't actually contribute a massive amount to that fight, with the exception of keeping Worst Ari completely out of it. The only kill that went down went to Pirate Fighter, but he fell thanks to some great chasing from Romix. Command attack, killing him with not the greatest amount of difficulty.
Yeah, nicely done by him. I mean, I was worried about the mana there on Romix because he had about just 4 mana more than he would need to cast another command attack. Managed to get it off and pick up that kill. Burnt the barrier and the flash as well out there from Pirate Fighter, so lots of summoner spells used all across this. And a Rising Hero was there for a lot of the fight, but didn't really manage to keep people off his carries. He sort of ran in the opposite direction to the rest of his team, so wasn't actually able to keep anyone alive and be that tank that he needs to be.
At this stage of the game, he does have that Sunfire Cape and Spirit of the Ancient Golem, but he is somewhat lacking on the magic resist at this point. I mean, he only has 75 at this point, which is almost 25 minutes into the game. He really does need to start stacking out some magic resist. He could do it in a form of a slightly damaging item as well, with like a more of a Mortius or something like that, but more likely, as we do now see, he is going to pick up the Spectre's Cowl, which is almost indefinitely going to go towards that Spirit Visage. We do see the members of 420 Ham Squad converging on this top lane once again. doesn't look like there's going to be an engagement, but the members of the Please Stop Throwing team are quite divided at the moment, and also Backflip is currently sat in the bot lane.
Yeah, they were pings on it straight away.
Well.
There's the engage. Solarflare coming in, nice play. But Leona's all by herself. Nice shot, they're hitting up 3 people. Beautiful play. Worst Ari gets taken down. Leona gets taken down. And this is a 4v5 fight. Shyvana wasn't even near it. Sneaky's going to go down. Beautiful hook onto Pirate Fighter. Triple kill. And Olaf picks up another kill. I cannot believe these fights. They're amazing.
As you said, a Rising Hero was trying to cycle around the side. He didn't even get involved in that fight. So that was basically a 4v4, and the members of the Please Stop Throwing team just took advantage of that superbly. Triple kill picked up by Rawmix. Incredibly good, and the play goes down to Rising Hero as well.
Yeah, he drags the sense out of that one though. Perhaps a little bit too greedy there from Genius Ginny, but it's going to get them the tower, and that ultimate is down as well. Ooh, so much damage coming down from the Reckless Swing onto the Rising Hero. Last boss, as you said, is that tank, is that man in the front now, and Genius Ginny using the hook there to get himself away from the Rising Hero. Nice undertow as well, going to slow everyone down on that chase.
Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Backflip has done considerable damage to that inner tower in the bottom lane, only deterred by the fact that Worst Ari had respawned to head up to assist with that. We do see everybody backing out. Considerable amounts of gold on most of the members of the Please Stop Throwing team. Very interested to see what gets picked up. Backflip does now have that Phantom Dancer. This is where Vayne starts to get really, really scary. Blade of the Ruined King plus Phantom Dancer. Considerable attack speed and 2 forms of max health damage. Very, very nasty to see. Meanwhile, we do see the members of 420 Ham Squad going ham on the Baron.
Yeah, Baron has been started. Let me click it so we have that overview. It's on 8,000, 5,000 health. They're going to be able to get this one down, actually. Jarvan is coming in to place that ward. It's on to 3,000 health. They're not going to be able to engage in time, I don't think. 2,000 health, 1,000. It gets smited away. And that is a really, really sneaky Baron steal there.
Yeah, no wards at all. Very good clearance from Vegnaguno throughout the game so far. He does now have that sweeping lens. It has, of course, been upgraded to a greater lens as well, for the increased range and radius on that ability, and that was a very, very great pickup for 420 Ham Squad. All of them now baroned up for the next 4 minutes.
Going to give them that extra AD, AP and health regeneration, really keeping themselves alive, and they can push down lanes now. They're probably going to go for that top tower again, but after the way it went last time, I'm not sure they'll be too enthusiastic about that one.
No, Rising Hero is currently sat in the bottom lane, just going to push that out. Give the members of Please Stop Throwing something to worry about. The rest of his teammates could head up top and try and get a favourable engagement again, but as you said, the last engagement did not go anywhere near in their favour. They really do need to revamp how they are thinking about these fights.
I think one of the big things for the Please Stop Throwing need to take away from the last fight. Yes, they've lost Baron, which is a bit of a setback for them, but we've talked about their late game team comp, and with the Vayne and the Olaf and the Orianna and the Jarvan, they have a really good late game team comp. Vayne was not there at all for the last fight. They didn't have their AD, their main damage dealer really in these fights, and they still managed to trade superbly, didn't even lose a member in the fight. So I think they have to be positive, and you have to look at it from the other perspective as well. 420 Ham Squad are probably feeling quite negative, because if you can't win a fight when the AD isn't there, how are you going to win if the AD is there?
Well, their answer does seem to be coming out right now. They're going to take objectives, because the members of Please Stop Throwing are distributed across the map. They don't need to engage, because the enemies are nowhere near grouped together at times.
Yeah, managing to pick up that gold, and it looked like it was about 240 gold each-ish. I think it might have been a little bit less than that, but still a large chunk of gold for each of their members, and actually puts them into the gold lead. They are a turret down and 5 kills down, but as you said, their objective control and some actually inferior CS across the board, apart from on that Shyvana, who's double the CS of Jarvan, which you expect. Really, their objective control has allowed them to be ahead in gold in this game.
Yeah, as you say, farm across the board, with the exception of the Shyvana, in favour of Please Stop Throwing. And Rawmix is now very, very well for himself. He's got over 70 farm more than Worst Ari. And he's also 6-1. 6-1, currently equipped with the Rabadon's Death Cap, Athene's Unholy Grail, and very soon also Leandri's Torment, which means he's going to be absolutely shredding even the tanks, which is very nasty situation for an Orianna to be in.
Yeah, it's going to be very dangerous, and we saw some of the shockwaves coming out from Warmix. A 3-man shockwave hitting up Pirate Fighter, Worst Ari, and Sneaky in that last fight really shut them down and meant they couldn't do anything. Shockwave into Dissonance basically melts both Worst Ari and Pirate Fighter, so they need to be able to keep safe and to make sure that they don't get caught out like that.
Yeah, Worst Ari is building pretty much full assassin, and the problem is he's not actually able to get the picks down, which is very problematic. They may well pick up this top tower now. It is a 3-for-1 engagement. They are going to pick this up, but that only levels out the towers at the moment. And we do see Rawmix and Genius Genie coming up to the top lane as well, which will only make it a 3v3 fight. And we've seen so far, despite the Baron, this might easily go in favour of Please Stop Throwing.
That hook really close there, but the thing about it is we just see really good rotations. We talked about this the entire game. The rotations coming out from 420 Ham Squad and their control of objectives and the strategy they have behind the game is what's keeping them ahead and like winning this game at the moment. See, they put 2 people in this bottom lane, put 3 people top, managed to secure the tower top lane really quickly, and now they're going to get the bot lane tower because they position themselves really well. I mean, it looks like Worst Ari is going to catch our backflip here. Deathfire Glass into the distortion. Oh, that's a lot of damage.
Meanwhile, Last Boss and Genius Genie were trying to get onto Vegnaguno and Pirate Fighter EU West. Vegnaguno actually trying to get an engagement down. Do you see all 5 members actually collapsing around from the 420 Ham Squad? Village may be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Genius Genie going really low. Nice box, though. He's going to keep himself alive. Village is not in a good position. Cataclysm's in. The Shockwave is available if they wanted to use it. Decide against it in this 4v5 fight. And just really nice rotations. They called out Genius Genie and the Olaf. Oh, the Shockwave hits off everyone! Wow! Oh, he's going to get 2 kills out of that double kill! That was gorgeous there from the Orianna. They're going to chase the flash in there by her. Sneaky's coming in the side. Pirate Fighter's going to get called out. Last Boss is on top of his face. Gets that kill, and Rising Hero is here with Sneaky. 2 tanks still alive. But Olaf and Jarvan are still there. Village on really low health. There's an ignite onto the Shyvana. She's going to get chased away by Olaf. Flashes away. And this is a Thresh hooking in there. Rawmix is standing on top of Sneaky. The Flay will be up any second now. Rawmix trying to get away. The distortion. The Flay. Is it going to be enough? Sneaky flashes the wall. And that was a beautiful turnaround there by Please Stop Throwing.
Rawmix is absolutely carrying his team right now. 8-1 and almost 100 CS in advantage over Worst Ari. And as I said before, Worst Ari is trying to build full assassin and it's just not working. She's just getting absolutely melted the instant a shockwave goes down. And they really need to consider even more tankiness, especially in this middle lane.
That they do. I mean, she does, as we can see, she does have the ability to melt someone out. Backflip got totally chunked by her with the Deathfire Gust. Didn't even need to land the Ethereal Chain. But it's just not enough if you get any skills at all from this 8-1 Orianna hitting you. Solar Flare coming on to Genius Genie. Oh, he's going to have to back away from this one. Shyvana is there. Worst Ari as well. Using the Mimic, but that's not going to be enough. You don't have the damage if you mimic your distortion there.
But no, had to do that just to try and get close enough. Rawmix did back out over a reward, but nobody was close to deal with it. And we do see Randwin's Omen picked up as well. 4-0. Last Boss doing very well for himself. Still the highest farm in the game, 264, tied with Backflip. Also, 15 seconds until the Dragon comes up, and Please Stop Throwing have a perfect timer on this. They're actually going to catch out Vegnaguno, and they're completely pushing 420 Ham Squad off this.
Yeah, they need to go for it quickly though, because Shyvana is a very quick and mobile champion, as is Worst Ari here on LeBlanc. But it's going to be up. It is live now. Oh, they pushed Vayne and Orianna back to the mid lane. Orianna's backing away. That could have been a sneaky Baron there. They could have got that. They've got great ward vision. They haven't got a sweeping lens. That's probably their major fault at the moment. Weren't able to have knowledge that there are no wards around that area for the 420 Ham Squad team.
We've seen this in LCS, we've seen this in Battle of the Atlantic. Sweeping lens is very good if you have an advantage. And in teamfights, it's quite clear that Please Stop Throwing have that advantage. We do actually see a ward already in the Baron of the pit as well, which means that they now can't get that stealth Baron as they could have got earlier.
You can see them dancing around it, and it's as if they're thinking about it. You can see them working in their mind. They're like, Shyvana's bot. We could take Baron. We could take Baron. Oh, they've warded it. Does anyone have a sweeping lens? Yes, Thresh has just got it, but there's a 3-minute cooldown on that. It takes 3 minutes to come back up because you switch trinkets. One of the major flaws of getting it this late in the game is, by 38 minutes, who knows what would have happened around that Baron.
Yep, we do see Vector putting down that sweeper over the dragon. And no wards there, so a completely uncontested dragon, no wards present for either side. And you can see where the focus is right now. All of the wards, or about 90% of the wards currently being held by Please Stop Throwing, are near that dragon area. You can see 5 of them in that area. They want to have complete vision if Hall 20 Ham Squad wants to try and go for it again. Meanwhile, nowhere near as much for 420 Ham Squad, but you do see it more across the map. Vision currently being held on Rawmix, and it does look like they are posturing to try and get the Dragon Baron once again.
Yes, they have got that sweeping lens on Thresh, still only halfway through its cooldown, so it's going to be difficult for them to solidify anything here. Sneaky is a bit off to the top. Quickly, while talking about Sneaky, I want to give him credit. He's really caught up in CS. 258 on him now to the 284 on that Olaf. Only 30 behind after one point. He was about 70 behind, I think.
Yeah, very commendable, especially since he has no kills, but is still less than 1,000 gold behind right now. However, across the board, there's pretty much advantages for the members of Please Stop Throwing. However, we do see the biggest advantage, I would say, going across in that middle lane, to no one's great surprise. Rawmix 8-1, amazing CS, and I think I've gone over this at least 3 times. Worst Ari is just not tanky enough to have an effective fights. 1-3-1 and only 165 CS. The only non-support with less than that is currently Billich on that Jarvan, and he doesn't care about farm. It's a Jarvan. Jarvan is there to be an utter tank, and he's got the items he needs for that right now. He has the Spirit Visage, he has the Locket of the Iron Solari, he has the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. He is more than tanky enough right now.
One of the things that, like, my eyes literally, as this last passage of play happened, went as wide as dinner plates, because we saw a 5-man team rotate round towards bot lane for 420 Ham Squad, and that's fine. But the lane was pushing against them, they had to clear out the wave, it wasn't near the inhibitor turret at all. And in my mind, I'm just going, well, you put Olaf and, like, Vayne up towards that Baron, they can take that now. And you put 3-men bot and just defend. Like, it's the little things that make the difference. Like, Olaf and Vayne could have quite easily taken Baron there. The warding wasn't that great. There aren't any wards on it now. They wouldn't be able to sneak that one away. And if you put Orianna, Jarvan and Thresh down defending that inhibitor turret, we've seen how good Orianna is just by herself in team fights. She could keep people off that turret for years. And it would be very difficult for the 420 Ham Squad to actually gain anything, and your team gets a Baron. So, a little bit of decision making, perhaps not quite the communication that you want within the team right there.
No, we do see all 5 members of both teams currently hanging around in the mid lane.
Solofly coming in, Rawmix is going to get melted, but Worst Ari EU is not going to pick that one up. Vayne, final hour, Sneaky's in there, the box, the shockwave was beautiful, but Worst Ari is going to get chased up by Olaf, Leona goes down, so does Worst Ari, Sneaky is down to half health, he's going to get melted, Shyvana is there, but Pirate Fighter is still alive, he is his last hope for the team, Shyvana, the hook, oh, gets flashed away there, so close, but that's a 4-for-1 exchange here, beautifully done, and wow.
Wow, indeed. 17 for 7 currently the kills, but even more remarkable, there's still an advantage, however slight, in favour of 420 Ham Squad. Those dragons have really shown themselves right now. And Rising Hero has actually disconnected. I'm expecting a pause. There it is.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been able to escape from that fight, even if he, like, it didn't look like he disconnected at the start of the fight. It looked like he disconnected near the end of the fight, so I'm pretty sure he was dead anyway, so not a major inconvenience for them there. Obviously, it's annoying that we have to pause the game and get back into it straight away, but one of the things I want to pick up from that last fight, we've talked about Worst Ari and her ability, or his ability, because it's actually a guy, to melt out the enemy carries. He hit basically his entire combo, apart from Ethereal Chains, onto Orianna there, and Orianna's still on more than half health. What's
scary,
up with that?
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
It is, definitely. She only has 75 magic resist. But the simple fact is that even with that, she has so much ability power that Command Protect is shielding her for an immense amount of damage. It's 360 plus.
Yeah, and that's basically the whole Sigil of Silence. I mean, the fact that there's only a Void Staff and a Deathfire Glass really giving any AP to this LeBlanc, because she hasn't been able to get those big letter items like the Rabadons, like the Athenes and Holy Grail, like the Haunting Geist. She hasn't been able to build towards them because she hasn't got the CS and she hasn't got the kills. And when you don't get either of those as LeBlanc, you're going to be struggling as we get to the late game.
Yeah, we do see the members of Please Stop Throwing backing out at this point. We do see another needlessly large rod picked out by Romix. That is going to make everything even more insane. We do also see a Banshee's Veil picked up on backflip, which is a very interesting thing to have. And by no means is it wrong as well, because the ability to mitigate one crowd control ability, yes, it's just the one, but one crowd control is usually all you need to actually to die, basically.
Yeah, and the main threat for this Vayne at the moment is the LeBlanc from the other side. So if you can get rid of the Sigil of Silence or get rid of the Ethereal Chains, it's once a minute. That's a whole, all that's going to happen is you're going to have a team fight. You're going to be nuked down, or the spell is going to cast onto your Banshee's Veil and you're not going to die, which is major thing for this team. Vayne can stay alive with the Phantom Dancer building towards that Infinity Edge as well. I would have liked to see the last Whisper coming out, especially with Sneaky getting all that damage. The box actually coming down here from Genius Genie, it looks like Wurstel, he tried to go in on him, not able to get enough damage down, and if you can't melt down the support, you're not in a good place.
No, you are not, and of course the 5 members of Please Stop Throwing pushing this top lane, and the minions helping out as well, taking out that bottom inner as well, putting them to a 7-5 turret advantage. Gold has now finally swung in favor of them. Backflip's going to go and steal that red buff. 30 seconds until Dragon respawns once again, but people are still posturing over whether or not to go for the Baron soon.
Yeah, it's a huge wave in the spot lane, and Shyvana's had to go and deal with it. The culling coming out, look at the damage. I'm sorry, last boast, you can't even see the fact that he got hit by anything there. Not quite enough damage onto that really tanky Olaf to make a dent. So it looks like there were pings on towards this Baron. They're going to be able to try and get this one away. Sweeping Lens is up, and Jarvan's picked one up for himself as well. The hook, man mode there by Genius Genie. Oh, the Sweeping Lens is not in range of the ward, and this could be a major fault in their strategy.
That said, it is getting melted down so very quickly. Wurstar may not even be there in time. No,
oh, the hook lands!
It lands over the wall.
They're going to go in. Vayne flashes in. This is going to be enough Cataclysm onto the Leona. She's going to get taken out as well. Vayne is pounding away on her. Look at that. She tries to flash away right at the end, but you're not going to be able to... No, she tried to jump away, sorry, Zenith Blade. Not going to be able to get away from that one. And 2 kills and a Baron. They can push for the win right now. They need to get past this 3-man team, though.
Yeah, Olaf picking up that kill on the Leona. Lost a boss.
Did you just say like a boss? Did you really just say like a boss?
I said lost a boss.
Okay, lost a boss.
Apparently pun not caught there, never mind.
Well, no, it was definitely a pun. I'm just not sure if it was a good one. The Culling going out. They're going to go for this inhibitor turret. It goes down. Nice engage there by Bilic, just pushing back Pirate Fighter. Going to be able to take this inhibitor as well, and the waves are pushing. Ooh, the hook landing on a minion. Get that minion, get it down, and kill it away as quickly as possible, because minions are scary things. You know, the most kills in League of Legends are picked up on minions. It's a surprise, isn't it? I bet you didn't know that stat.
Yeah, minions die more than even Teemos do.
Even though Teemo's the universal taunt. If there was a Teemo in my game, I wouldn't last hit. I'd just go for the Teemo.
It's probably easier to farm Teemos than it is minions though in the early game, to be fair, if you're playing a mage with like.
That's totally true.
Dragon picked up by the members of Please Stop Throwing. Genius Genie is going to back out. He does have around 2,000 gold right now, and he's picked up the components for Randuin's Omen. That's going to make him so much tankier. And he's now got 211 armor. A lot of the damage currently being held by the members of 420 Hound Squad is physical. I mean, Sneaky is mainly physical damage. Pirate Fighter is almost exclusively physical damage. And a Rising Hero, good amount of physical damage as well. Of course, Flame Breath and Burnout dealing magical damage. But that's not necessarily going to be anywhere near enough at this point. Last boss, 265 armor. A decent amount of magic resist as well, but with a Spirit Visage, he's just healing for so much as well, thanks to the bonus lifesteal it gives.
Yeah, with the vicious strikes on his W, also giving him that little bit of extra life, still going to be able to sustain himself up really, really nicely. And the second inhibitor has actually respawned. This mid lane inhibitor respawning for 420 Ham Squad, but they are not in a good situation at the moment. Like, they're just struggling to do anything against this relentless force that is Please Stop Throwing.
Backflip. Just backed out to his base actually, and has picked up Infinity Edge quite recently. Surprisingly, he's got no kills. He has absolutely no kills, but has had a really great effect in this game. Actually doesn't bother to collect the lantern. I think Genius slightly confused by that, but
as a Thresh main, I hate it when people don't click the lantern. It's like, I put it there for you, just pay attention. It's so annoying. But as you said, they're going to push down this mid lane, backflip pounding away, and yes, the support vein is very strong in this game. We saw support Amumu being pulled out by Edward for Gambit Gaming yesterday. Support vein is obviously the new meta, going to be what you want to do as sort of a silver to gold leaguer. 19 kills to 7, 4,000 gold in the lead, only 4,000, and it looks like they're just going to straight up tank this tower.
Well, Billich is more than tanky enough to do it, and we see Billich tanking up very nicely. No damage at all basically being dealt by the culling, and so much armor being held by Billich and last boss that they can basically just act as a wall for that.
Yeah, when your Fed component's ultimate can't be seen on the opponents, like you don't see any damage that it's done. Distortion away there by Worstory. That is when you're in a bad situation. Like, all 3 inhibitors down. I think only 4% of games are won from having all 3 inhibitors down. But 420 Ham Squad are going to try their hardest to turn this one around. What do you think they need to do, apart from just kill the opposition, to win these fights?
I'm tempted to say that even that wouldn't be enough. Unless they got an uncontested ace, like a 5 for 0 trade, then the amount of pushing that they could do would actually be quite minimal. I mean, right now, engaging would be a very good idea, because once again, Backflip is not present for the fight. So long as Pirate Fighter EUS could land the culling onto the less tanky members, which at this point is only actually Romix, the only person without an insane amount of armor, and even then Romix has 160 armor for himself.
Yeah, we do see this 4-man stack coming up mid lane. Them top inhibitor itself is going to be respawning any second now, so they might try and push up and round towards that one. Backflip is trying to join the team. He's got all of his abilities up. Actually, everyone has all of their abilities up at the moment, all the ultimates, all the summoner spells, and the next fight is going to be what decides this game. If 420 Ham Squad do decide to manage to win it, they might be able to claw their way slowly back, but if they lose, those Nexus turrets are going to get taken out really quickly. Hook landing there onto the Yona. Are they going to engage? Oh, so much damage coming down, but that's the support. You don't want to melt him. Bane in the backline, and it looks like Genius Genie does go down. Nice shockwave, picking up 3 people. Leona, Shyvana, and Renekton are on this Oriana and this Bane. Bane is getting tanked up by Sneaky. Billich picks up the kill onto Leona, and Bane picks up Renekton. Shyvana is trying to get as much damage down as possible. Pirate Fighter EUS is still up, but he is having to deal with the super minions that are pounding down onto the space. Worst EUS is going to get caught out. He gets taken down, then Shyvana goes down as well. Pirate Fighter cannot defend his turret. Super minions are the 6th, 7th, and 8th champions here for this Please Stop Throwing team. Pirate Fighter is going to get taken out on the Nexus. Yes, he is. The fountain, the barrier. Is it enough? No. Yes. Yes, he gets the kill. Oriana coming in. Double kill for Pirate Fighter. The throws. No. Please Stop Throwing. Pick up the Nexus and the game.
Very well played by Please Stop Throwing. 23 for 10 the kills, and every turret on the map just cleared out. The game finished with a 6,000 gold advantage, which is fairly considerable considering the amount of gold that were picked up throughout the course of the game. And MVP, Romix, 10, 2, and 9, 314 CS. Not the highest in the game, but she had such a profound effect on that game. GG, well played.
Yeah. Won them all of those mid-game team fights with 2 beautiful shockwaves that I remember. One outside their inhibitor turret in that bottom lane, hitting up 3 men, melting down Worstory, and then the same in the top lane again just before that. Really well done by them. We'll be seeing Please Stop Throwing going through to the semi-finals. Commiserations to 420 Ham Squad. As always, it is a pleasure to cast you guys. Hopefully we'll see you again in just a couple of weeks. The next game will be starting in about 10 minutes, I believe. Is it about 10 minutes? Yes, it is. I will be casting with Eltazar, so stay tuned. I've been Stoner, my co-caster has been Eltazar, and we'll be